It's an ad. What
sound check?
Yeah, we're already going.
Oh, okay.
So it's an ad for distressed jeans?
It is how they distress jeans, right?
Yeah, how they do it.
Put them on a mannequin and then sandpaper them, but it is one of the most kind of luscious and sensual things I've ever seen. It's like somebody caressing a pair of jeans with sandpaper.
Well, they were using, for the longest time, they were sanding, they put them on, small Asian children, and they were sanding them, and then they got into all sorts of trouble.
Oh, big trouble. Nike.
Yeah. Because somebody... yes, exactly. And then finally they said, because they're humanitarians, they said, oh, this isn't right.
They're like, you should buy Adidas.
We should have thought of... Yeah, so the reason I do that, because this can make noise. Are you going to be on your phone?
All tickets go through Guillermo.
Sorry. Oh, what does?
I got him.
Josephine, you don't have to say anything. She's been on.
Oh, please, God.
Wait, did Ashley leave? No, she's staying, right?
No, she left. I asked her to go. No. What happened was...
like you.
What happened was... No, it's funny, because on the way, I got a flurry of emails from young Guillermo, and he said, first, do you mind if Ashley, who shot the... Exactly. And I have that in a newsletter. I could just blast him, like me, and you're barely dressed in most of the film, actually. But anyway, he said, could you include, could you include Ashley? And then by the time I read it, there was another email saying, forget it, she's got to go. So that was the quickest cancellation. But truthfully, when you're doing this audio thing, more voices is really not better, even though I wouldn't have probably said no. But, because I don't want to reject.
Did she leave?
She did. She had something to do. That's what I heard.
Should I take on a different voice then to be her?
You could do that. Yeah. I have a feeling you could do different voices.
We could get in a lot of political trouble.
Uh-oh. I can't do... I could do a French accent, I can do an Italian accent or anything, which is acceptable. But if I do an Indian accent, people get very, very offended. I'm like, what's the difference between one accent and another? I don't know.
Do we really want to go there? Well, we can go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
I don't know what you mean, man.
Great French accent.
About? Okay.
That's not bad. Where did you go in this film, Flames? Where did you
Maldives.
go? It's the only place, which is, I know, is sinking.
The lowest country in the world. It's only 2 feet above sea level.
2 feet?
And it's sinking fast.
I know.
Yeah.
Is it sinking, or is just the water rising?
Ocean rising.
The ocean rising. Okay.
Half full, half empty.
Exactly. In this case, it's all empty.
Wasn't that great quote that
that's
somebody
horrible.
Was like, I don't see the glass as half full or half
right,
empty.
See, half is...
This glass is piss.
Oh, I didn't... I used to have a line for that, but
sorry.
I want to talk about the film.
We filmed in New York, the Maldives,
yes.
Sri Lanka, Italy, Germany, and Mexico.
I wasn't there for Italy, Germany, or Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
We're very sorry about that.
So let's go back in time. Who's conceived of this film?
Well,
I mean, truthfully, is this really based on a real relationship? Let's be honest.
So Zefrey was reading Madame Bovary, and he really identified with the main character.
Okay.
And it's been a while since I read the book, so I'm trying to remember
Me too.
who it was besides. But so anyway, so he had this idea that we would slowly, over the course of 8 months, recreate the story of Madame Bovary on film. The trouble was that I think I didn't brush up on the book before we started shooting, and I think he had read it way too long ago. So we just ended up making kind of a documentary about ourselves.
It's actually really a tragedy that we didn't read the book better.
Well, it's in French.
My French is impeccable, by the way. Which is twice the shame.
Well, on the subject, I stopped reading. I used to read all the classics, and I would read the Russians and the French, like Balzac and...
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Balzac. I said Balzac. I knew where he was going. Should have known immediately.
A plane going by.
Honoré. No, but all the great... And then I stopped doing it at one point because I'm realizing I'm not reading the originals. I'm not reading those authors. I'm reading...
Translations.
Other people's ideas of what those authors wrote and meant. So I just figured that's not. I don't want to do that.
Very smart way to start the interview, right? Because this is really what you're watching here is a meta lens through which you watch our relationship. You know, that people have said, oh, you know, it's really you guys, you know. But in a way, it is, of course. But then it's filtered through this woman, Ashley Connor, the best DP in the world, who sacrificed a great portion of her life to be in an emotional three-way with us.
Wow.
And over 5 years.
Long bad translation of Madame Bovary, in other words.
Maybe better, though. We can't remember Madame Bovary.
Nobody remembers.
Madame Bovary.
Dies. That's what I really remember.
I think she does. Yeah, she's walking across the street reading Anna Karenina and gets run over or something like that. Another book where...
I heard it was Stampeded, but same.
Ashley, by the way, is invited to come on. I want to just say that. So
great.
Josephine looked a little perturbed at me.
There's a coat right there, which makes me think she's going to show back up at some point.
Yeah, maybe. But so maybe she'll walk in on us. That's fine with me. I don't care. Anyway. So how did you guys meet? Okay.
All right.
You finished his sentences for me.
Josephine Decker.
Because I've known Josephine a long time, and I don't remember you.
Hey, I'm nobody, so right? That's right. Josephine, I first heard about because she took off all her clothes and crashed a Marina Abramovich performance.
I remember.
In MoMA. And I love to show my weenie in public, right? That's how I make my money, is a public exhibitionist who, molests anyone who will get near. And so it was a natural fit. I met her on a rooftop party. I tried to throw her over the edge. She scrambled back, and I was like, this girl's got something.
What do you mean you scrambled?
This was ironic, actually. It was my ex-boyfriend's going away party. He was moving to LA. I had dated him off and on for 6 years, and then Zefrey showed up at that party, and we started talking, and I don't know, hit it off, as they say. Yeah, and I do remember you dragging me towards the edge of the roof. Anyway, I should have known then that it was not going to be a good relationship. And actually, you know, it's funny because I remember that the first time we had a date, we went for a picnic in Washington Square Park, and he immediately was calling us a couple, and he was like, we're going to do these things together and this, and he just had no fear and no reservations about filter. Believing. Yeah, he just was like, I believe we're going to work and it's going to be amazing. And I was like, wow, I just met you. Cool. You know, and maybe you have to be an idiot to get on board with something. You know, I think maybe now I'd be like, what projection of your fantasy am I? You know, but actually I think it's really refreshing. That's the thing I really still appreciate about Zefrey, is that he has unbridled enthusiasm about when he has an idea, he believes in it 110%, which at times can be annoying or aggravating, but it is the opposite of most people who are just filled with self-doubt and don't do their ideas. So very inspiring / sometimes I want to kill him. Right.
Well, what is that masking? What is that unbridled enthusiasm? Or
well, I would say,
do you not set up yourself up with some sort of I don't know, you just run right for the finish line? Is that what
Adam, I love you. This is great. Okay, yeah, what is that masking?
So first of all, I would say that I was really in love with Josephine, right?
I believe you.
This part makes unbridled enthusiasm and passion very easy, right? You find the person that you're like, you get me, and I get you. And then immediately after that...
Oh, you didn't mean me right now. Sorry. You were talking about her. No. But you do have that with people that aren't necessarily romantic.
Absolutely.
Lovers, too.
I feel like you and I have been friends already for a long time.
Thank you.
You're like, I guess.
I see a picnic in my near future.
Union Square, though. A little something uptown.
But, I only mean it because, I don't, you guys are not a couple, so, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't take risks, leaps of faith, or believe in your, instincts, all that kind of stuff. So, but on the other hand, you also are probably old enough to have...
know better.
Yeah, or just know. I don't know.
I think that you asked a great question, right, that I was sidestepping. And that is, of course, it masks fear, right? There's only one thing to mask, is fear. And whether or not I was emotionally honest with Josephine, right, man, I think I was as emotionally honest as I could be with her, which speaks more to kind of a stunting in my own growth, right? And this is the thing I love about not only the film, which has chronicled a small part of it, but our continued relationship is watching each of us become more able to be honest with the other person, right?
It's such a great question. Like, what is it masking? It just makes me think okay, so we're all masking something. I mean, I'm just going to take this full on into the therapy realm, because that seems like maybe more appropriate than talking about the movie is for us to just have a little therapy session right now. That would be a real response piece to the
checkbook.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good point. Anyways, we'll have to pay you later, Adam.
This one's pro bono.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was thinking how in my current relationship, I'm in a really awesome relationship with a very talented human, and feel very safe and comfortable with him. The only thing that we argue about is space, because he keeps his house very clean. I might call it OCD clean.
Oh, boy.
And
Yeah.
I am a giant mess. And so when I'm on the outside of him, I'm like, your OCD cleanliness is masking your desire for whatever, power control,
Right.
Whatever. But I think someone could very easily, and I'm like, well, I put my mess all over the floor. I have nothing to hide. My mess is everywhere. And maybe the thing that I'm masking is that I have a desire to control other people's spaces with my shit. Never actually even thought of that before, but now that we're sitting here talking about what is the thing that you're masking, I have a lot of shit and I love to put it everywhere,
Right.
and it makes me feel like I'm then in that space, and that I have some ownership over that space or power over that space. And it's interesting too to think about that then, of course, in terms of the film. So in the film, we're really we show a lot of ourselves. I'm like, what does this kind of level of oversharing, because you might call it extreme oversharing, what is that masking for both of us? I think when I think of okay, why do I need to make a movie that's like this? Why do I want it? Why did I let Zefrey put my image in? Because ultimately he had final cut, and in some ways I pushed to not have this film made, and then eventually said, okay, yeah, do your thing. I think there was some level of wanting to be seen, and also maybe even be seen by Zefrey, because that was something I don't know that we had when we were dating, and somehow being seen by you and being seen by a giant audience of 500 people. I don't know, maybe that's accomplishing something. So I don't know, what do you think your presence or work on this movie is masking, or now that we're taking this to the therapy level?
I mean, Josephine is a genius, right? In many ways, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, storytelling-wise, and also very well spoken, and beautiful, and smart, and funny, right? The whole package. And so I think that I would mask being intimidated by her with some good bluster, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I can give a great show when intimidated, and this is something I always think about with Andy Kaufman, was one of my favorites, right? I love the Kaufman. He could out-weird anyone, right? And in this way, you really end up in a different power dynamic, right? Take, for instance, you're on the train, right? A tough guy gets on the train, everybody's like, asshole, right? A crazy man gets on the train, everybody's like, I'm going to move cars.
I always I don't do that, but...
You don't move when a guy starts swinging his arms around and talking to himself and sitting down on you?
Depending.
Somebody shits their pants in public?
Yeah.
You're not going to stand by that guy.
No. Probably not. It's true.
What, maybe on a weekend?
But the tough guy, that's... Yeah.
Like
I've stood my ground. It's true. Yeah. Wait,
are you the tough guy?
No.
Are you blocking the doors?
Oh, that guy. No, not quite.
What kind of guy doesn't step aside on
I'm a little
public transport?
Yeah, I get into the more confined a space I get into, the more unlikable I become. It's true.
Well, we're in a small room now, and I love you.
Well, thank you, and I love you too. I feel so cheap and but what? No. But it's not. This is going off the rails. Just
Are there any rails to begin with?
no, you're right. I guess your relationship on the screen, and then there's also, your relationship with the audience, because you are bearing all off. And I got another 20 minutes. We're good. Another 20 minutes. Yeah. Nah, 20. I think they paid already.
Oh my God, I'm about to come.
Well, this is why. No offense. This is why it's very difficult to do. Press. Yeah, like junkets and all. I tend not to, because I don't really do that type of
short form.
Yeah.
You have to get in with your not very deep question, and I can tell that you like.
No,
to
but
give
it's
the deep
good.
Questions.
But this is part one.
Yes, this is going to be
actually.
Right?
I would love to continue talking to you, because you, in a matter of a few moments, have cracked open something that we've never talked about.
Really, you never talked about it. Well, I'm glad if I did nothing else.
Ever heard Zefrey say that you were intimidated by me?
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing. I mean, the film is an overshare of sorts, but it's also really. I mean, it's so much fun. It's like this. I use this word only in the best sense. Mess.
Pedophile?
I know that Zefrey has hung out with Owner. That I do know.
Oh, you've hung out with Owner?
He must have. You must have. No? Don't ever put them in the same room then. It's like...
that I love men who have strange... no filter.
No filter.
Is this onerous man has no filter?
None whatsoever.
No. Opposite of... Yeah. Is Flames, which is, I assume, what the relationship went down in. Is that right? It's here at Tribeca. It's obviously the New York premiere, but is this the U.S. premiere? Is this the world premiere? What is it?
This is a world.
World premiere.
Yeah.
That's great. So this is wonderful.
Yeah, it's been very cool. And I think we're going to learn about ourselves in this process. You put yourself into the world in a way that's vulnerable, and then you discover something new.
I feel like you have been our father figure, our teacher preacher, the one to show us the way.
Well, if I've helped even in a little bit, I feel good.
It's funny because I kind of quit making documentaries because I felt that they were exploitative. But the thing that I forgot that I also figured out when I was making documentaries was that the process of putting yourself on film is the process of also seeing yourself more clearly. And that is, I think, terrifying for anyone. And it can feel exploitative. It's also extremely revealing and allows you to grow. So I think I'm going to be growing a bit now that this film is out in the world. And I think Zefrey already went through a shit ton of growth in the process of dealing with our hundreds of hours of footage.
Yeah, the mirror is a son of a bitch, man. Nobody gets you like the mirror, right?
You're a deep fellow. I'm afraid we're out of time.
Oh.
So
to be continued.
Yeah. I was pretending there was a clock up there. I was like, the therapist. I'm afraid the clock's always out of the view of the patient. What was that? Was that 20 minutes? Hold on. It's just barely 20 minutes. You came in to try to cut me off at like 18.
Somebody's in trouble.
Fight.
All right. That's, I schlepped. Okay, guys, come out and see. Sure, yeah.